how the story and characters evolve season by season. The evolution of story and characters in Squid Game Season 1 introduces us to a harsh survival game where 456 deeply flawed and desperate individuals are forced to compete for a massive cash prize, risking death at every turn. At the center is Gi-hun, Donna his luck, gambler and father who struggles with addiction, debt, and fractured family relationships. Gi-hun, haunted by PTSD and guilt, faces a world that both idolizes and fears him. The season introduces a host of new characters, a brilliant, ruthless strategist who sows discord, a naive young woman embodying hope and innocence, and a combat-trained soldier with secret ties to a resistance movement inside the organization. The frontman evolves into Gi-hun's personal and ideological rival, their encounters revealing his layered humanity despite his villainous acts. The VIPs escalate their cruelty, devising new lethal challenges and gambling on ever more brutal outcomes, highlighting the dehumanizing nature of wealth and power. Throughout, alliances shift, betrayals, shock, and characters face wrenching moral choices that blur the line between hero and villain. Gi-hun's transformation culminates in him embracing a darker, more pragmatic approach while still holding onto a fragile hope for change. The season also unveils a secret resistance working covertly to end the games, offering a glimmer of rebellion in a seemingly hopeless world. Season 3 ends on a tense cliffhanger, signaling an upheaval in the Squid Game's deadly order and hinting at a larger battle between the oppressed and the elite. The introduction of new players with diverse backgrounds expands the social commentary. Though some lack the emotional depth of the first season's cast, the elite VIPs who bet on the games become central, representing systemic corruption and voyeuristic cruelty. Characters grow from archetypes of desperation and hope into multi-dimensional figures wrestling with trauma, loyalty, and identity. From desperate players to ruthless VIPs, the games just keep getting darker and deeper. If you're ready for more deep dives, epic theories, and all things Squid Game, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss the next round. Until then, stay sharp, stay smart, and remember, in this game, survival's the only rule. Catch you in the next video. Gi-hun's arc, from vulnerable gambler to revolutionary fighter, embodies the series' heart, while the enigmatic frontman and the corrupt VIPs symbolize the machinery of oppression. New characters and deeper world building in seasons 2 and 3 expand the scope and stakes, making the narrative not just about survival games, but about systemic injustice and the human cost of greed. The season explores the growing power and decadence of the game's organizers, who introduce more sadistic games and psychological manipulation. Gi-hun becomes more active in investigating and opposing the organization, signaling his transformation from a victim to a determined fighter. The frontman's backstory is further revealed, showing him as a tragic figure trapped between his past and his role as the game's enforcer. Season 2 deepens the moral complexity, with characters wrestling more openly with their ethics, survival instincts, and identities. Gi-hun's journey is deeply human. He is flawed, but fundamentally compassionate, often trying to help others despite the brutal environment. His childhood friend, Cho Sang-woo, embodies the darker path desperation can take. Once a promising investment banker, Sang-woo becomes cold, pragmatic, and ultimately betrays Gi-hun in the marble game, showing how survival can corrupt morality. Meanwhile, Kang Sabyok, a North Korean defector, fights not only for money, but to reunite her family, adding emotional depth and a hopeful thread. Supporting characters like Abdul Ali, a kind-hearted migrant worker, and Jang Deokso, a violent gangster, highlight the game's social spectrum, from innocence to ruthless aggression. The season also introduces the frontman, the mysterious overseer with a hidden, tragic past, adding intrigue and a looming threat. By the end of Season 1, Gi-hun wins the game, but is emotionally scarred, grappling with survivors' guilt and trauma. Season 2 shifts focus from the game itself to the aftermath and the broader organization behind it. Season 3 intensifies the stakes and complexity. Gi-hun returns, now hardened and driven by a mission to dismantle the deadly system that destroyed so many lives. Squid Game's story evolves from a brutal death contest, testing individual survival, to a sprawling, morally complex saga about power, exploitation, and resistance. And that's a wrap on the wild, twisted world of Squid Game.